What is success mindset?
Hi, I'm Ruth and I'm passionate about helping people live the life that they want to live on their terms. I talk about coaching, positive psychology, neuroscience, and business growth, because if you want to live a fulfilling life, then you want to be going from a 0 to a +5 in positive psychology, rather than focusing on bringing you up to a 0.
Oh, mindset. It's become, I remember when I came into the online space 7 years ago, and most people didn't even really understand that word. And for me, coming from education, when I talked about mindset, I was really coming from that perspective, that Carol Dweck perspective of growth mindset. And the growth mindset is really where we do something, but we see that we're always able to develop and learn. So let's imagine that we sat a test and we got a low mark. We'd be like, okay, what can I do to improve or get better? Or we do a podcast and we don't get great feedback. We're like, okay, what can I learn from that? And that is a mindset that I have cultivated and applied in my life, really from very, very early on. Okay, I don't think that my abilities are fixed. And I guess in a way, because my abilities were never so wow, that I realised and recognised that if I focused on my own development and learning, I could get better. So for me, mindset comes from that idea, this belief that we're able to improve, and this belief that we are able to get to where we want to be. And I think that that really is how I would describe a success mindset. A belief that you are able to be successful. Now, this belief may not be unwavering. I know that for me, I have done a lot of work on my beliefs. And when I say a lot of work, I mean that there are times when I really struggle to believe that I'm going to be able to do something. And when I feel like that, when I go into that thinking that it's not possible for me, I strip right back. Okay. First of all, let's look at evidence of all the things that I've achieved. And not blowing my own trumpet here, but let's take consideration for what I've done in those situations. Let's take ownership for the fact that, yes, I worked incredibly hard, for example, to get my master's and to get a merit in my master's. I was able to become a master certified coach for the International Coaching Federation because I put in a lot of work. That was a year's worth of work to get my coaching to that standard. That wasn't about me saying, I'm good already. It's about me saying, I know that I've got to do the work. I've got to learn. I've got to develop. I've got to have difficult conversations. So by allowing myself not to be perfect and realizing that I am very fallible like everybody else, and I get things wrong like everybody else, I've been able to build. And I'm going to talk about this success mindset. It's something which is quite personal to me actually, which has been around being a leader. So I remember when I first had that word leader in my job title, and I was leading people, but I really didn't understand how to manage them effectively. And I made a lot of mistakes. And it would be very easy for me to sit here and talk about all of the mistakes that I made. But the more powerful thing was that I learned. And I learned how to do things differently. And coming into running my own business, I would say that that has been one of the biggest challenges for me. And I think that what has changed as well is that the stakes when you run your own business are higher. Because for both my businesses, for my coaching business and for my training business, it's very much reliant on me, Ruth Could delivering. And I have very high standards of what I believe good to be. And I am very clear on what I want delivery to be like. Now, I'm very clear with myself, but what I've realised is maybe I hadn't always been as clear with others. And maybe in managing a team and leading a team, I made a lot of mistakes. I'm sure that there are people who've worked with us who would say that I wasn't clear or other things about me, and I acknowledge those and see those and completely see it as an area of growth, because I realise that being a successful leader in an organisation is a different skill set to being a successful leader when you own and run the business, especially when you have multiple demands on your time. And this was a massive learning that was really driven by having that success mindset. And one of the things that I did, which is one of the things that I recommend people doing around their mindset, is when things were really tough, I looked to people who had navigated this and got support. And I spoke to people, and I recognised that a lot of the things that have been happening with me were symptomatic of what happens when you grow a business and what happens when you're looking for people to deliver things, but it's deeply personal to you. And my mindset was, I haven't done what I wish I could have done here, but I've been really grateful for the learning, and the learning has enabled me to really build on where I've been and what I've been doing. So there was a lot of growth for me around having a mindset where you were allowed to make mistakes and it was okay to get things wrong. And I think that for me is a success mindset. It's a mindset where you take responsibility for getting stuff wrong. You take responsibility for learning and implementing, but you also give yourself compassion. I think this was part of what has been missing with me before, because I would really beat myself up about maybe sometimes failing other people. It's always other people that I will be putting before myself. And what I realised with that is, if we do not prioritise ourselves and we prioritise others first, then it's very, very difficult to actually truly be successful, because we're doing it in a way to please others rather than really doing it around what we need. So that was a huge learning. So really in all of this, the message that I want to be really clear about is a success mindset is the ability to recognise where we need to grow and to acknowledge when we get things wrong, that we are responsible for doing that work. The people that I see with real success in their lives, whether that be in business, whether that be in their career, whether that be in their relationships, are all people who are open and honest and vulnerable about sometimes making mistakes, and are open and honest and vulnerable about learning. They don't, and I don't believe that I'm any better than anybody else, and I don't put myself ever above anyone else. And I think that is part of having a humble success mindset, appreciating that you can learn and develop and grow, but you need to be taking responsibility, which means that you're not going to be finger pointing. If something hasn't worked, of course, the external context, the environment, the people around us may have some impact. But we need to internalize, and we need to think about what we can do as a result of that. Because it's so easy to become a victim. It's so easy to put ourselves into a victim state, either in terms of relationships or in terms of our context, and go into that poor me thinking. And that poor me thinking is not a mindset that is going to build the blocks for success. The building blocks for success are built on, what can I learn? What parts of this actually am I responsible for? And I tell you what, it's a really liberating place to be. Because, you know, I was somebody who, I remember I had this boss in the past, and for years I felt this resentment towards her. And, you know, it was very easy to blame her for everything. And I remember doing some coaching and doing some reflection. I was like, ultimately, yeah, maybe this wasn't great, but what did I do? What was my part in this? And what is my learning about that? Because I didn't handle it brilliantly. There were times that I was obnoxious and I was acting like a child and I was rebellious and I was rude. You know, I'm not perfect. And actually, acknowledging my part in this relationship was really healing. Forgiving myself, but also forgiving this person, because I believe, and I strongly believe that most of us are going through life doing the best that we can in the circumstances that we've got. And if we're leading this back to mindset, remembering that you did what you thought was best in that moment. And maybe now, with more evidence and reflection, that wasn't the best thing to do. But you can't go back and change what you've done. What you can do is learn and heal and go again. So this is your reminder that perfection is not real. And your reminder that you are able to learn and develop and get better. And that is a mindset that you need to have to be successful.
Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd like you to like and subscribe. And remember to keep abreast of all of our new videos. Just ring that bell and you'll be notified when any new ones come out. And we'd love to hear feedback from you. So if you'd like to post beneath your biggest takeaway, and equally anything that you'd like to hear me talk about, we're always open to feedback.